I was feeling bro vibes here, but
Oh, yeah.
also it was giving me some, I don't know,
MLM?
man.
MLM?
Yeah, it was Welf and him.
Oh,
I think it's
no,
because
they're
of
just throwing
Welf's.
out.
I think it's because of Welf's voice actor. The way that he talks in English, I'm just like, why are you saying it like that? Why are you saying some of this
If
stuff
it's
like
in
that?
the delivery, then for sure, but I was for sure watching and I've still been watching it in subbed, so I didn't pick up on that.
Maybe it's just because I want them to. It's all the goddesses plus Demeter. They're like, oh my god, they're throwing each other themselves at him, and it's like Belle wants the one that just isn't really interested in him. And I guess it's like, what are we doing here? I know it's the crux of this anime.
Yeah,
Belle, just pick somebody else, like anybody else, literally
roll
any girl.
credits.
Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules the Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today we are continuing our watch through of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? In anime, we watched the first 4 episodes, and today we're going to be talking about 5 episodes. And if you are like, I want y'all to watch one of my anime, we have a ton of anime here in our anime chest. We are whittling them down. We have so many to get to. All of these are up for grabs when we finish this anime DanMachi. And by the end of next week's episode, we're going to be ranking that anime on our list. So we rank them from S to F tier, and we decide, is it a good anime? Should you watch it? Should you take a chance on this anime? We rank them all. Got a couple of S's. Last one was Mashal was an A. So we are going to see where it's going to be next week. But I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing really good. I'm fighting a bit of a little sinus problem.
Okay.
I went out to the Midwest this weekend and it was really cold and humid, and I'm not used to that, and so I was already dealing with that. And then fly back home to Cali. Yesterday I'm feeling better, but then today we get it gets super windy, and then there's a wildfire just north of us. So all
Oh
day
God.
I've been dealing with like inhaling ash at work, but we're here. We're ready to talk about anime. We're ready to decide if it truly is wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon.
Yes, and thank you, Kaylin, for the 8 months here on YouTube. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the 8 months. Um, yeah, is it wrong to try to pick? Uh, the more we watch, the more I'm okay with it, because we started off last week where we're like, w- I'm okay with boobs in things in anime and in manga, whatever. I mean, I'm reading My Dress Up Darling or whatever, but like this started off as a little too much, I think, maybe for an anime. And then now, as we're going along, it's like slowly getting rid of that and then giving it some more of the other stuff that I really enjoy. And I'm like, here we are. Here's an anime. It just took a little while to get there.
This
Um,
one's an onion.
this is an onion. Apparently, we have to peel back the boobs in episode 1 through 4. Yeah, mainly 1 through 6, I think, really, and then 7 it starts cooking. Just wait.
7 starts cooking.
Episode 7 starts cooking. So let's get into it. We have a ton of episodes to talk about. So let's get into it. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Give us a recap of episode 5, Grimoire / Magic Tome. What happens in episode 5?
Hestia begins to get a bit jealous over Belle getting all the attention to the point that she considers him to be cheating on her. She goes and washes away her worries in anticipation for a day out with Belle, but all the other goddesses attempt to steal him away from her. Lily gets harassed by her old familia before going into the dungeon with Belle yet again. Lily saves Belle with a magic knife that she meant to keep secret from him, and Belle receives a grimoire, opening it up to get a magical blessing. Bell goes into the dungeon and burns himself out, overcasting his magic, and Ice nurtures him back to consciousness, but Bell runs away to her dismay. Hestia explains how the grimoire is now useless, even though it's super expensive, and Lily appears to be ready to pull the trigger on something she has planned.
Ooh, buddy. So we get some more of this. I like Hestia, and I'm kind of just
She's growing on me.
she's growing. I'm fine with the character. I mean, it's really funny whenever she has to go and just do jobs. She's like, I'll be back, Belle. I'm out. I'm gonna go work at this random spot because she needs money. Why is she working? I mean,
Well,
I
like
know she does have to pay back Hephaestus, but like, what is she working? Is Belle not bringing enough money for?
probably. It might. I mean, not probably. He probably is doing that, like probably enough for them to get by. But I think there's at one point she says something like, I want to be able to do everything I can. So I think she feels like as a goddess that can't go into the dungeon directly and like, be a part of it,
Okay,
can't party up with him. The least
yeah,
I can do is while you're risking your life in the dungeon, I can walk into town and work a stall to come home with some extra money.
yeah, that makes sense. Um, we get some more scenes of the good stuff, just them in the bath, whatever, and we get Demeter. I think we meet Demeter here in this episode. And why does every girl like Belle except the one that he wants? Is this like this is so weird because all of everybody's like, "Oh my god, Belle." And in this episode, it's all the goddesses plus Demeter. They're like, "Oh my god," they're throwing each other themselves at him, and it's like Belle wants the one that just isn't really interested in him, and I guess. And it's like, what are we doing here? I don't know. I know it's the crux of this anime
Yeah.
that has a lot of other stuff that comes out of it, but it's like, Belle, just pick somebody else, like anybody else, literally
Roll
any girl.
credits.
Roll credits. Could have been done
I
episode
mean, it's like, there's the whole thing that he,
2.
like, yeah, the crux of the show is that he got a power, he has a crush, and he's getting like bonus XP as long as he maintains his crush, basically.
But he doesn't know that.
But he doesn't know that, yes. So it's like, it could endear you to him as a trait that like he's just not being a womanizer, not just
Okay,
going around and picking up all the girls and
I see
stuff.
that.
With the goddesses, I feel like like it's almost like all the goddesses are just trying to like bully Hestia because everybody's like, oh, Hestia has a man, Hestia that can never get a man in heaven. That
Yeah.
like now we have to cause problems, and I think that like they don't even necessarily like are infatuated by Belle because it's
Okay.
like when they Demeter asked Hestia, she asked, "What do you like about him?" And Hestia said everything.
And it's like, that's a
They
cop
don't know
out.
him.
That's a cop
It
out,
is a cop
bro.
out, but like she knows him. They can't say that,
That's true.
and neither can even like eyes or even like the any of the other Lily, the girls at the tavern, like none of them can I feel like really say that because they don't really know Belle how Hestia knows
Hestia
Belle,
does.
because Hestia was there for Belle when Belle had nobody.
Yeah, that's true. So we get all of that stuff. The goddess follow Hestia to see Belle. Belle falls into Demeter's boobs and then tied up in a little bow. Then we get more information in a character that I'm really starting to enjoy, which is Lily. Lily Ruka Ade. I forgot her last name. Lily is seen again being berated by adventurers, taking her money, and she says that she's saving up her money for something. And I did see during the fight in this one that Lily does help a little bit. She used magic to help Belle in the dungeon. Lily asks for the day off, and we get some information about magic and how magic is acquired here. There are two different types of magic: inherited magic or acquired magic. And acquired magic must be self actualized. And that's the one that Belle has when he gets the grimoire, gets the tome. It's like asking him internal questions and trying to figure out his magic power, I suppose. And now Belle can use magic, firebolt. So it's kind of like the classic beginner ability, which you would
Sure.
see, with uh mainly mages,
Yeah.
firebolts, but he doesn't have to use a spell for it, which is
Correct.
really cool. And he can use this a lot. So I don't
Mhm.
know. They haven't really explicitly said if it was working on like a magic power, like
Mhm.
MP sort of thing. But in this first fight, we see him blast off quite a bit.
I think when he because he burns himself out and passes out, and then Ice like calls it like Mind Zero or something like that.
Yes.
I'm forgetting the particular term. So I feel like whatever that term that she used, that's like the mana concept. Because like
Okay.
if you like hit zero mana, like you just pass out.
You
doesn't
just
kill you, but yeah, you, you just like you just run out of steam. And
yeah.
I really like it's really interesting to have the show kind of explain the magic system, how it is thus far, and have other people be using magic. It definitely feels like it wants to be like a hard magic system. It wants to be like an Avatar or like a, I guess, sorry,
Avatar.
Full
Oh,
Metal Alchemist,
I was thinking
even
Avatar the blue guys. I
Avatar,
was
like
like,
The Last
Avatar.
Airbender, where
Okay.
like, there's like a, because when they talk about, oh, he can do it without the thing, then it's like, oh, Belle's like a soft magic user in a hard magic world. So it's like, imagine if like, yeah, like something like Full Metal Alchemist, where in order to like do any of the powers, it's always something for something. But then just Belle walks in, and it's more like Harry Potter, where he can just point his hand and cast his flipendo or his anything,
Yeah.
Expelliarmus, all of them. He can just do it, but he just needs
Magic power to do
the
it.
magic, the skill, or whatever it is, because, or even compared to something like D&D, where you have, uh different components for spell casting, but then in that world, if you could just be like, oh, I don't need any of that, I just, if I want it, it happens. And it's just like, I can definitely see it just out of that, like we're getting to the point where he's kind of starting to turn into this the hero that he wants to be, I guess. And
Mhm.
it's setting him apart in these very specific ways, where it's like, this is why, like, it's justifying the fact that where we're going to end up at the end of the set, with him becoming level 2 in just under a month,
Mhm.
where everybody else is like, even, the sword goddess, or ice, it took her a whole month,
Year.
year, yeah, sorry, year.
Mhm.
So I like how, even though he's getting like overpowered, the show is like kind of breadcrumbing you into it, and he's not just this uh big raid boss immediately.
Yeah, definitely, and it does bring up that this is an anomaly. This is not how it goes or normally goes, and now later on in the other episodes, he gets famous or whatever, and people know of him because of what he's doing, but, in this episode, Ice was there in the dungeon. Ice's, boob is out too, just gotta note that. We get Ina asking Loki about the Soma Familia, and Loki does say that Soma worships wine, which is very interesting because usually they all worship some god. What's this about? They worship wine. What do you mean? So that leads us into episode 6. Lily Ruka Arde slash Reason. What happens in episode 6?
Diving into Lily's history, we see that she has been antagonized by adventurers for so long that she has grown to hate them. Loki provides Ina with more information on the wine worshippers from the Soma family, and Hestia questions Belle on whether or not Lily's intentions are pure, as Ina asks Eyes, for those two names, hard to say back to back, for a favor after assuring her that Belle isn't mad at her. Lily leads Belle into a trap where she betrays him, before being surprised herself by her old familia, her current familia, ready to throw her away to the ants. Belle arrives to save Lily and assures her that he did because he cares about her.
Aww. So we
Because
get
I
some
love you.
backstory. Yeah, we get some Lily backstory, a lot of Lily backstory that she had a hard life, no parents, adventurers bullied her a lot, and information about Soma. They don't worship a god, they worship wine. Um, Lily wants to take Belle to go to floor 10, and she's very adamant about it. And Lily gives Belle a new sword to use. Um, my question here, what I was thinking about during this episode when they're like, let's go to floor 10, whatever, whatever. Let's go to this floor. These are harder monsters because now we're getting deeper because he has better abilities or whatever. Why why would you want to be an adventurer in this world? Because in other worlds, it's like a video game. And this is sort of playing off of, the isekai style of anime or manga where it's like I'm thrust into another world and now I want to be an adventurer and I want to kill monsters and I have these abilities and I want to get gold and be the main character, whatever. Why in this world would you want to be an adventurer? One, mainly because you want money, maybe, or you're just bestowed these abilities and you have to use them.
M-
Um,
Money, power. the concept that, people, the gods themselves, like, might be kind of
Sure.
like tempting people with, even though I can't give you my direct power, become a part of my familia, and like you can grow strong. And I think that's why, like, we have this, like, not, I don't know if I'd call it a caste system, but we get to see that, like, this world is not made up of purely adventurers.
No.
We see, like, smiths that are, that work on crafting and stuff. We see that they're the tavern, all the stalls that Hestia keeps managing to get jobs at and stuff. So it's just like, being an adventure is, and then being an adventurer probably has this kind of like prestige to it, this
Sure.
sense of heroism and empowerment. The uh in the later episode we hear that, like, oh, there's, like, we haven't even been past this level yet, and so
Yeah.
maybe it's like, deeper and deeper into the dungeon you go, the better and better rewards you get, which we do see through, like, the soul gems, which they trade for actual cash. But other than that, like, Monster Hunter-esque, like, you're getting better, you're hunting better
Yeah.
monsters to get
But
stronger gear, to get to fight even stronger monsters so you can
which
get better
is
gear. You're just in the gameplay loop. What else can you
yes,
do?
but they're posing this as a real world.
Mhm.
So when all and everybody starts off on level 1, is there just infinite like, how did we find that? I'm thinking, like, bigger now that we're
Sure, sure.
learning more and stuff. I'm like, is this just a pyre of rock? And they're like, "Okay, go down there, there's monsters." How do we find that out to begin with? Why are these monsters bad? Kinda like we posed a question in another anime, like, "Oh, whoa, then why are they killing all these monsters? The monsters are the good guys." I think it was in, what was the other anime? I forgot.
Well, there's also, we've had Grimgar, Fantasy, and Ash, where
That one.
that one, yeah, that one asks, like, the question, hey, they had such a hard time just taking down the level 1 goblin, and when they did, it was like they felt bad about it, and it's
Yeah.
so. But in that one, it feels more grounded on both sides. This one, I feel like the grounded nature kind of gets removed right off the bat when Ice slays the Minotaur and
Mhm.
Belle gets splattered with blood, but then it just, like, turns into a puff of smoke. It's like
Yeah,
it's just a
that's
manifestation
true.
monster. It's probably not, like, it probably came into this world as it is. It doesn't have, like, a life cycle. And I
Then
feel like in Grimgar, it's like, you have an
yeah, these
ecology to the monsters.
but then are the monsters infinite in this anime? Because
They
again,
just start
we're
coming out of the ground at one point.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's just coming out. I'm sure all the adventurers go through level 1 and they're just like, I'm looking for monsters to kill to get money and to get XP, whatever, whatever. But they're posing it as a real world. And in real world, are these just infinite? Is there something deeper that we're going towards to be like, okay, well, we don't know why these monsters keep spawning, but we need as many adventurers to kill them because they won't stop. And possibly we'll find an answer. Like, I want them to basically, I want Belle to ask, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this, Hestia? Like, what is this for? Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I love it. I'm fine. Like, I get it. It's supposed to be like a gamified thing, and we've seen it in Isekai all the time. But I'm really wanting to know, since we spend so much time in the dungeon, it's in the name.
Mhm.
What is the dungeon about? So that's what I started to think in this episode.
Okay.
We find out, well, we see Lily lose her ears in this episode, and we find out she can shapeshift kind of. She still steals Belle's stuff and lets him get attacked. Gato finds Lily. Garno turns on Gato. Gato runs. Lily gave Garno her key to all of her jewels, and she gets thrown to the ants, bro. This was crazy because I was like, she ain't winning. She ain't leaving.
No, yeah, I
Um,
definitely think that, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but, like, I know Belle's about to show up, you know? I know that
yeah,
they're not gonna, kill the one companion that
it
he's had so far. So there's that hanging over your head, and then there's also the fact that, we have the foreshadowing of Eyes talking to Aina, and them overhearing talking about
yeah,
some white-haired kid, and then her being like, "Oh, can you do me a favor?" And
yeah,
immediately I'm like, "Oh, she asked her to go tell Belle." And I thought, when the trip happened, I thought that was going to be Eyes. I thought it was going to
yes,
be like, "Why are you doing this to Belle?" You need to go help him and give him his ship back. But then it was those guys, and I'm like, what's going on? But I know Bell's going to show up, and then he explains what happens, and it's like, okay.
I know Belle's gonna show up, but it gets pretty weird. It got like a little weird because she was just a very little girl, and they be saying some stuff, and
Yeah,
a bunch of
I see what you're
dudes.
saying with
So,
that. Yeah.
like, I know he's coming, but
And even
like,
just the way that like it was depicted, like he just tore her like outerwear off. It was uncomfortable. There's
that
some uncomfy moments, but
I
the
think that's
people
what
that
more
are
it
doing the
was.
uncomfy things like kind of have been getting their comeuppance
Sure.
or not really. It never pushes it into the direction of being overt, but it is just like a little bit of
Yeah, it was a little uncomfy. Bell saves Lily. He says he won't abandon Lily no matter what. Ice is the one that defeated all of Bell's monsters. And I did got to know at the end when Lily's like, why won't you do this? Why are you being stupid, Bell? I did all this stuff and you still want to be by my side and you help me. Why are you doing this?" And the way that she was yelling, again, I'm watching it in English. And I do got to say, during that last part of the episode where Lily's giving her little monologue, English voice actor was so good. The way she was
okay.
crying and yelling, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good!" Like it really is just emotion. Like this person that has been downtrodden by adventurers their whole life and is just vengeance on all adventurers you meet, and she's just trying to cope and trying to understand where this insanely good person for no reason shouldn't have literally just betrayed him a little bit ago, and she just can't come to terms that this is a good one here
Mm-hmm.
in Belle. And I just love
Mm-hmm.
that performance. It was really good.
Trauma.
A lot of trauma. Episode 7, Ice Wallenstein / the Sword Princess. We have a couple more episodes to go. What happens in episode
Excuse
7?
me. Freya continues plotting her devious schemes, and Hestia swears Lily into the Familia and makes it very clear what her intentions are with Belle, and that she wants no funny business from Lily. Ina brings Belle to meet Ice, and she offers to teach him how to fight more effectively. She spars with him frequently and teaches him advanced adventuring techniques like falling asleep at will. Hestia catches Ice and Belle together and enforces her dibs on the two of them. Because I saw him
Yikes.
first. We'll get there.
Yeah. Freya, we see this in the beginning of the episode. Freya tasks Otaro to stop Belle from getting powerful. So, in the back of your mind, in the back of everything that we're seeing here, we still have Freya. We don't really know what's happening with Belle, but
Mm-mm.
he is getting powerful at an alarming rate, and Freya
Mm-mm.
doesn't want that to happen or wants to control it or
Yeah,
something. We get the scene with Hestia not liking Lily, and Hestia and Lily have this sort of simp off with Belle. They
mm.
both really want him. Um,
I don't
cool.
even think Lily necessarily wants him, but it's just like I think she was just more like, you can't tell me what I can and can't have.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's where
true.
she was at, where she's just like, oh, that's the game? Okay, I'll play the game.
It's just Belle in another. So, like, as we go on, because we're in episode 7, as we're going on, we're losing sight of the boobs, right? We had a
We
ton of
are.
boobs in the first 4 episodes. It's becoming less and less, and this is sort of the turning point episode, I think,
I agree.
where yes, where this is like, all right, we gave you the thing and now we're going to tell our story. And like the way the how do I explain? The boob to action ratio
Was
for
very
me.
disproportionate
Yes, and now
at
it's
the
going to
start, and it came
it's
to a balance, and I feel like it's now going to start swinging the other way.
and
Hopefully,
that's the anime that I'm sure everybody is like, "Yo, this anime is great. This anime is awesome. Love Belle. Oh man, have you seen this anime? It's really good." Because there has been comments on our past podcasts as well. They're like, "Oh man, this is really good. Whatever. Really love this anime." And then the first episodes are just all of this stuff where Belle's the guy that everybody wants. And then now that it's getting away from that, I'm starting to like it a lot more.
Hmm.
But in episode 7, it's a really hard thing to just put all that stuff at the beginning where maybe some people would be turned off on an anime like this when they first see what's going on. So it's like really odd that like now as I get more into it, I'm like, okay, now we're actually telling the story, whether it was there in the beginning, but it was just clouded by just cleavage.
Hmm.
And then now I'm just like, yes, okay, here we are. So I think episode 7 is pretty pivotal in the swing of things
Yeah.
after watching 8 and 9 as well and being like, "Oh, okay. This is great. I'm cool with this."
We definitely like, spoke on it a little bit last week or this weekend actually, where it was like it felt as though the it felt as though only because of the podcast would I have continued this show,
Yeah.
because it came off very strong initially, and it was something where I felt like if I'm getting into the show, if it's just going to be a bunch of this, I don't want to watch this. And
Mhm.
with the name accompanying it, it doesn't really do it a lot of favors.
Yeah.
But with it being translated from like, if it had just been called like DanMachi, and then I turn on episode 1, maybe even then I'd still continue to watch it because like the name isn't as Sasibaka, but like just the name and then the way it like comes off very strong, it's just like, I don't know if this is for me. But then by the end of the 4th episode, I'm like, okay, maybe. And now it's episode 7. The general rule of thumb in anime is if you're not locked in by like episode 3, it's probably not for you.
Yep.
So and like knowing that this goes on to season 5, which is airing right now, it's like I feel like I have my foot in my mouth a little bit, but also it's like I can't feel like it's my fault that I wasn't drawn into it initially.
No, they did it. They did it on purpose.
And it's
And
like I feel like it's a very big problem that's becoming more prevalent in modern day, where like the first few episodes have to be so like overt and like kind of like not overt, but they have to be so there's a word I'm losing for it. If you've seen episode 1 of Don, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They go for shock value. There's like a shock value there that people need in order to like sink their teeth into something nowadays. And as time goes forward, everybody needs that shock value to be greater and greater and greater. And that's why you have like in like other shonen like Jujutsu Kaisen, people dying in the first episode. Demon Slayer, entire family dying in the first episode. So it's like
spoilers.
spoilers. So shock value has become so much more prevalent in pilots and first episodes nowadays. But with this first season airing back in like 2015 or something like
Mhm.
that, it feels a bit it feels like it didn't get to that point yet where they try to pack it all into one episode, and it's like being stretched out over those first few.
Yeah.
Even in this 7th episode with the whole she falls asleep, you have the demon and the angel on his shoulder. Hey, you should go kiss that girl that's
Brother,
asleep. That's exactly what she wants right now.
that was
That
weird.
was super weird. And then he says like it's his grandpa or something. He's like,
Yeah.
"Grandpa, is that you?" It's like your voice, your demon on your shoulders, your grandpa. What?
Well, the grandpa, as he said in the past, in the first 4 episodes, he was like, grandpa was the one that said, "You gotta pick up a girl in a dungeon because that's how they know that you gotta save the damsel in distress," or whatever. So
I
it was
forgot.
his grandpa that we never had an on-screen death for, that they said he fell into a valley or something. So it's that grandpa, that person. Hello, Claire. Welcome to the stream. Claire says, Are we ever picking up a girl in the dungeon? I don't know. I guess we gotta wait till season 5 to find out. But yeah, let's skip ahead to that part because Ice and Belle finally speak, and Ice wants to teach Belle how to fight. Belle and Ice spar. I do want to talk about how like we don't really talk about the fighting stuff, but the fighting's there, man.
Yeah,
I'm digging
the
it.
fighting's well animated and well choreographed.
I like it. I'm okay with it. The
And
fighting's
I
really
like
cool.
like the whole concept. We've not This isn't the first show to do it since or before, whatever, but the whole idea, yeah, I'm just a natural like at this, and any that time I try to verbalize like how you should do it, if I'm giving instruction, it's just going to come off as like do this and then just like do this and then you just like do that, and look, now you know martial arts. And he's just like, you what? And
Yeah,
she's just like, maybe we should just spar.
yeah.
Like,
Just
yeah.
do it. You'll figure it out. Um, Claire says, I can't say I've ever considered the hookup potential of a dungeon. Should try it.
How many dungeons you been to?
Yeah. Haven't been to many myself. Um, Belle, in between them sparring and stuff like the flash back and forth of them sparring, Belle and Lily go down to get money to get Lily a room. So they go down to the dungeons to get Lily money to get a room, which was odd because can't she just stay there with Belle and Hestia? Like that it's just so odd, some of the choices they make. I mean, I get they have to go to the thing to show Belle fighting a bunch of goblins and a bunch of other scenes, but like the things that get you there are a little odd sometimes where Bella and Lily were like, yeah, we got to get you some money because we got to get you a room or whatever, but they have like this house sort of just
They have
sleep
like a
on the
little
couch.
church. Yeah.
Yeah, just sleep on the couch or something.
Hestia's just like, you're not allowed to sleep in the same room as me and Belle.
I
Sorry.
guess that's what that
They
is.
don't love you like I love you.
In this episode, also, we get this berserk looking ass dude. He gives a Minotaur a sword to fight with him, which was weird. And we get some more information about him later.
It
But
was
that's when he
weird,
was.
but then like at almost immediately, I'm like, I see, I know what he's doing. I know what this guy's up to.
What do you think he was doing?
I thought he was training it. Because like what you could just kill it. Why wouldn't you kill it? Because you
Yeah.
want it to get stronger. You give it a
And
stronger weapon, and he said, "Here you go. Figure that out how to use that."
it coincides with Ice and Bell doing the exact same thing, sparring. So it was very interesting.
Exactly,
Very
is
cool.
very unique parallel to see.
And it's just like this dude just doing it. And I'm like, what the? I was like, they can do that? You could just do that? Like, what the fuck? So Ice and Bell keep training, and yes, Bell, Ice falls asleep, and Bell is there fighting whether to kiss or not to kiss Ice. And we see the incarnation of his grandpa telling him to do it.
And another voice telling him not to. I
I think
don't
it was
know what that was.
Hestia.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, I think it was Hestia on his good side.
Gotcha.
And
You were raised to not do something like that?
I agree. All the other stuff, like him not going for the girls that really love him or whatever, like that, like you were saying, made him really endearing. This part was just kind of odd
Yeah.
because
Came out of left field for me.
didn't need to happen. Literal essay, bro. Hesh is working on the stand where Belle and Ice visit, and she's mad again. After the credits, Garno meets the Minotaur that the Berserk dude was training. Garo dies, maybe. There's just a lot of blood there. So we get kind of like that Minotaur just being menacing, and there's a lot more
Rawr.
a lot more raw, a lot more to come from that. Episode 8, Argonaut / a hero's aspiration. What happens in episode 8?
Ice becomes more renowned for taking down a raid boss solo, and Belle feels the distance between them becoming impossible to close. Ryu gives Belle advice that it might be time to party up, and with sparring sessions with Ice coming to a close, Belle descends the dungeon yet again with Lily. However, they come across a furious Minotaur that we've seen before. The Minotaur puts Belle on the ropes after knocking out Lily, and Ice's expedition group shows up to save him. However, he refuses their help, and through strategy and technique, he is able to defeat the Minotaur, passing out while still standing. Hestia acknowledging that this is just the beginning.
This episode was really good.
This was a really good episode. That fight with the Minotaur was very well animated, and the sound effects were so good. It just felt visceral. When at one point he got gored by the horn it still had and slammed, he was on the ropes, bro.
It was great. I definitely want to get into it. Seer asked Belle to help him with dishes and does say that he needs a group. You need skill, strategy, and a party to get stronger. We find out that Ice has been training Belle for a week, and from the looks of it, by them all getting together to go on this expedition to reach level 59, the Loki family is kind of huge. What did you think about the reveal of they're like, okay, we're gonna have a Loki family meeting, and you heard about it, and then they go to just showing different shots of people, and it's like, wait, is this whole group the Familia trying to be the first party to reach floor 59? Like that's more like a guild now, as opposed to
Even
Hestia just having the
though
one.
even though we never really see, I think it's Hephaestus,
Hephaestus.
Hephaestus, their familia. Like we get the idea that it's huge because it's like implied that they have all these smiths and all of these people. So it's like you should go buy your armor from them. And then he's that episode when he's like walking through the store and he's saying, "Oh, all these armors are made by different people," and it like I can only think that because of the previous interaction that they had with Loki, that like Loki is one of the stronger gods. Maybe somebody even directly says it. So it's like I would assume that their familia is big, that they kind of like know what they're doing, but it definitely like for me, it's a case in point of like how many named characters are we gonna get? And like
Sure.
how many people are actually important to the plot. And then Loki's family comes in and it feels like all these characters are like named characters that are gonna have something to do with the plot. And that's when I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. It's like it's not just like,
Background
blank
characters.
faces. Yeah. So I wasn't
Somebody
expecting that many like actual characters to come out of other familia outside of
not
Hestia's familia.
definitely not a lot of browns and vague colors. A lot of people were in primary colors, and it was like, wait, hold on. Why are these guys' hair blue and green and red? And I'm like, wait, are they gonna be a thing? So I definitely felt the same way. It was just really crazy to me that we heard about them having a big familia, and then it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I didn't expect
Oh.
this big, and with all the primary colors of people that could be somebody.
Mhm.
Bell faces the Minotaur with the long sword. Bell uses his training to keep up with the Minotaur, and Ice saves Bell, but Bell does not want it. He says, "No,
No.
this ain't it, bro. I'm doing it." The Loki familia watches along as Argonaut, which they name Bell, legend of the there. It is a legend of the boy wanting to be a hero, which encompasses Bell's whole thing. Um, Goes on and continues fighting the Minotaur. Bell twists the knife on the wrist of the Minotaur, grabs the Minotaur blade and slices, and it's just so good. I loved everything about this fight. This is what I want. If it's more of this going forward, this is what I want because this was so good. The animation, like you were saying, was top notch. We had interesting way to kill him where he sliced his chest and then
Took
started
his
doing
weapon. Yeah.
firebolt, firebolt. And he could see it just like
Puffing up. Yeah.
it was insane for him to just explode and
Yes.
just like
And it's exactly what the whole idea of Ice, and even himself, like, reflecting on it, like, I'm gonna feel scared, I'm gonna feel cowardice, but through strategy and technique, I can come out on top. And that's what he had to use. He couldn't brute force his way through it. And that's something that I really like with when you have anime fights going on. I like the smart fighting. I don't like just straight up power
and
scaling numbers being bigger than other numbers and stuff like that. It's like let them use their toolkit in an interesting way to overcome the challenge.
and it's almost like they have to set up Bell that way because what are his weapons? They're like really little knives. Like
Yep.
even in the next episode we're going to talk about, Wealth makes him another small knife. So it's not something where we have people shows like Berserk with a huge ass weapon or other shows that where it's like I have this huge ass sword and I'm powerful with my hammer or something. Like no, he does have to use his smarts to get into the fight with these small blades on bigger enemies, and that's compelling seeing
Yeah.
this little guy.
And
It's David and Goliath as always.
and I also just love them all on the sidelines. Like, what's her name? Lily is like, go help him, please,
Yeah,
help Bell. And they're all just talking amongst themselves, like, oh, should we do it? Blah 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 blah. And then then they all realize, wait, he's like, fighting that thing.
yeah.
Like and they're everybody's just like, let him cook,
let him
let him cook.
let him let him cook, and he does. He firebolts into the Minotaur. They did say that there was some kind of rule about taking somebody else's called monster or something, so they may be of honor. The Loki family may be honorable, where if you're in the same spot and you're like, "That's mine," then they're
Yep.
like, "Okay." Well, that's fine.
Yeah,
We'll let you do
that makes
whatever.
sense. It's like, honor among thieves type deal.
Yeah. So yeah, epic fight. Loved the way it ended. Loved all of it. Bell has mind 0 by the end, and they find out that his abilities are all level S. So he's strong. Episode 9. This one's gonna be a little difficult for me, but episode 9. What happens in this episode? Welf Crozo slash the Smith.
Belle levels up and in only a month and a half, and oh my goodness. Hestia goes off to get him his new name because he is going to be receiving his second name as a rank up, and Belle gets very excited over this. However,
Woo!
his name is Little Rookie. He's approached by other people asking for him to group up with them, but he denies their requests. Bell meets with the smith that made his first set of armor, Welf Crozo, and they create a deal that Crozo will exclusively make gear for Bell, but also Welf would like to join the party. After dungeon diving with Welf, uh, Bell realizes how much easier it is to work in unison with other adventurers, and Hestia explains that Bell's new Argonaut skill is basically just, hey, if you're in a bad situation, it's gonna make things better. um, uh, Bell meets up with Wealth and they decide to use his Minotaur horn to make him a new knife. Wealth explaining how he hates creating magical gear because it breaks and people rely on it. He thinks that it is a waste of time, and he asks Bell to speak to him as a friend moving forward and not as a client.
Woo! So Bell hits level 2 in a month and a half, which is unheard of. We talked about it already, where Ice hit level 2 in like a year. And they did mention, I didn't know that Bell was still only level 1. I don't think they
Yeah, I
made it
didn't
super
either.
apparent.
Because when they're talking about when Hestia's giving him the skill updates and stuff, I just figure like there's like a loose system or whatever, like just his stats are growing, so he's leveling up or whatever. Then all of a sudden, yeah, you're still level 1, and I'm just like, oh,
So yeah, and earlier when they mentioned Ice, they said something like, "Oh, she's level 6 or something," and I didn't really understand until I heard, "Oh, Belle just hit level 2." I was like, "Oh, wait, okay, being level 6 is a big deal."
especially if it takes you normally a year just to get from level 1 to level 2. That would
Yes.
mean like on average at a minimum, I would assume that it probably takes 6 years for the most skilled person to get 6 levels.
Yeah. And Bell has this Argonaut skill now where Hestia says, "Go figure it out. Go out and try it out." Um, which made me think, because now we have 2 skills on Bell and we don't really know other people's skills, which is really interesting because they have all their stuff on their back, so it's not ready for everybody to see, and they're not really flaunting their skills. Like, we met a ton of characters, a lot of adventurers. We still don't really know what Ice's abilities are. I'm assuming she has really good abilities and skills, but like, what kind of skills are possible in this world? Like, what do you? We have the Argonaut skill. We have this sort of outlandish other skill that Bell has. That as long as his infatuation is continuing, that it'll relay to his level success and leveling up. That's sort of abstract a little bit. Like, what kind of levels are in play here in this world? Like, what are you thinking as far as power for these
It's hard.
characters?
It's hard for me to wrap my head around because, like I was saying earlier, the whole concept of where like it feels like Bell is turning into a soft magic user in a hard magic world, and
Yeah.
so it just feels like he's becoming the Deus Ex Machina, where it's just like I am just going to have this tool set of all these different things and all these different abilities, especially the Argonaut skill, where it's just like, hey, if you're in a bad position, it's gonna like just give you some bonus. So like instead of firebolting, he like can do like a magical shot or something like that, and it like one shots an infant dragon that a whole group of adventurers were fleeing from. So it's just
Yeah.
like it's hard for me to think like whether Bell is actually even level 2 or if his skills are actually level 2 or if it's just like the sake of the systems in this world, pose him as a level 2. Like, because like you said, we don't really see it. I'm assuming Ice has some sort of like sword skill arts or
She
something like
better.
that. But I guess I could also assume that if she's been down all the way to like floor 50, we've only really seen them go up to like floor 10-ish. That she probably doesn't even need to use her skills down there.
That's
She's
true.
probably just like, auto attacking and things are just dying automatically. She's like, I don't even need to press Q, bro.
Yeah.
But it's just so
Ults never.
it's like my brain wants to know, and like I see all the characters, and even in this episode when you the last it was this or the last one, we see the Loki familia taking on like golems and stuff, and I'm forgetting their names, but like the guy with the blue hair, like he seems to be jumping in with no weapons at all. So it's like, okay, we got monks too, or like
Yeah.
he can just martial arts his way through these situations where everybody else is needing weapons and stuff. The other two girls on his flank were like carrying these huge like broadswords and stuff. So it's really cool to get all of these different characters using all of these different weapons, and the concept that we could have different skills and magic moving forward. But really, other than somebody out of Loki family using magic to heal Lily, and Lily using her magic knife to cast a firebolt, I don't know if we've seen any other magic. I don't think we have. So like it's really hard for me to even like what are the
Comprehend.
possibilities when all I have is
And
Belle doing firebolts, having a skill to turn the tide of a bad situation, and having a skill to get double XP for
yeah.
being in love or having a crush, whatever. So it's like it's
Yeah,
hard.
it's very, yeah, because from what we've seen, they may all just be abstract abilities that help somebody. Like you're saying, Ice may have some sort of sword wielding ability that makes her crit attack more or something like that in the way that they would put it in their vernacular, but or for her to have swiftness or evade or something. So I'm thinking more abstract, and like the magic thing is something he actually learned out of a grimoire, and that's where that stuff comes from. um More of the acquired magic, I think was what it was called. So Bell, Gods get to pick second names for everyone who levels up, and Bell is going to get his new name. Hestia runs into Take, who's Take's familia, who has his own familia, and he said again, "I got to keep track of these names because Welf Crozo came back up." So Take's familia person was Makoto Yamato, and they leveled up too. So I'm assuming at some point we're gonna see her, or at least Take's family.
And that guy that showed up, he also like gave. I remembered he gave like. Is that the guy that gave a Bell like potions out of nowhere, and then like those
I re-
potions like never came up again?
I remember that scene, but I don't know if that's the same guy.
That those potions are currently a Chekhov's gun for me. It's like why do we have somebody giving potions to Bell for no reason?
Yeah, and then he was like,
Oh,
"Okay, thank you."
yeah, that's another thing for me where it's just like I'm trying to keep that like pinned, but I feel like it's just
It's nothing. It's gonna be nothing. Bell's name is Little Rookie, and Bell is famous for what he has done since he has gone from level 1 to level 2 in a month and a half, which most likely has never been done. So everybody's kind of like wanting him to be in their party and all this stuff. But Bell ends up meeting Welf Crozo, who's this lad who's super cool. He's the one that designed his armor, and he's like, "Hey, do you have any more Welf Crozos around?" And he's like, "Huh, well, actually, that's me." Lily doesn't like Welf. Uh, Welf wants to join the party, but everybody has some animosity toward, or Lily has some animosity to Welf.
And then when she finds out his last name,
When he finds out his last name, Crozo, is the name of a family that lost their ability to make magic weapons. But Welf, is the unused treasure, which they call him because he doesn't make magic swords. As he's the only one that can make them from his family, he just chooses not to. Um,
badass.
when they're down there, they have a dragon show up, as you were saying, and in this Argonaut shot, just takes out the dragon's head, and that was insane. So
Spirit gun.
yeah, I'm thinking if we were to put text on this ability, I think a hero shot is when he's low on magic power, or when he has disadvantage, and then he's able to do this Argonaut. I think that's a
Because
good.
his hand started like sparkling, and he
Yeah.
was like, I don't know why that's going on. And then the adventuring groups showed up running away from the infant dragon. So his Argonaut skill probably already like, I detect a very strong enemy in your presence, and so Argonaut shot ready.
Yeah. And I think that's a good description of it. Yeah. Wealth or Lily takes a sick day, which he's done a couple of times already. She just like, I was sick. Wealth wants to make Belle some new gear, so they have some bro chacho time where they hang out at Wealth's place and talk about their feelings and their thoughts. Wealth tells Belle that he dislikes magic swords because of the people that ask for them, that you cannot have the need to get strong. These swords are not, or these weapons should work with you. He believes
Mhm.
that weapons should work with the person, and magic swords usually break
And so
very
in a
often.
time where people need them most, they will be left like defenseless, essentially.
Mhm.
What your weapon should be the other half of you. I definitely felt it going to the degree of like, your weapon is an extension of your power. Your weapon should not be your power.
Yeah. And the dislike of the people that are searching for these weapons specifically. And I feel like he gave it's kind of like the room from Harry Potter. What is it? Is it the room of
Uh,
requirement?
room of requirement. Yes,
Where it's
that's
like you have to not want it for it to appear
show
to
up.
you.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
so
begs the
that
question for me: does the knife that Hestia got for Belle, like, like, would that fall into that category then, or was like that not a magic? It's not a magic knife. It was just a really good knife.
it was just a really good knife, and she specifically says that this will grow with you.
That's
So
right.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming it is of steel or whatever equivalent it is. And
If it's
this,
growing with him, then it's an extension of him for sure.
yeah, definitely. And Wealth ends up making him Ushi Wakamaru, which is the name of Belle's new Minotaur horn dagger, which looks super dope.
I love
I
how
love,
immediately he was like, "Wait, it's a Minotaur horn, so like I gotta think of like a name to work that in." And Belle's like, "No, no, 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 the first one." And I was like, "Wait,
yeah,
no, let me. I want a pun. Give me a
yeah.
Minotaur pun."
It's really good. I like
That's
that he
funny.
has two different weapons that he's going to be using. And this one's made with love from Homeboy. After the credits, the crew goes to floor 13 and Lily is giving a plan and everyone's happy to be in a squad. I'm liking this little crew. It's super small right now though. We only have two more people, whereas in other anime we've
Hey,
already would have had a crew, a ton of people.
it's only two more people, but from episode one, we've doubled it. So we only
True.
started with two.
That's
Now we
true.
got four. Squad.
I was feeling bro vibes here, but
Oh yeah.
also it was giving me some, I don't know. I don't know,
MLM.
man.
MLM.
Yeah, it was Welf and him.
Oh,
I think it's
no,
because
they're
of
just throwing
Welf's.
out.
I think it's because of Welf's voice actor. The way that he talks in English, I'm just like, why are you saying it like that? Why are you saying some of this
If
stuff
it's
like
in the
that?
delivery, then for sure. But I was for sure watching, and I've still been watching it in subbed, so I was not. I didn't pick up on that.
Maybe it's just because I want them to. Maybe it's because Belle keeps getting thrown pee all day, and just make him be like, you know
Yeah,
what? Never mind. I like
I
Wolf.
I like
you
I
know?
like the idea that like, we had Lily get added, and Lily's like the perfect companion to Belle for being like, the backpacker. I'm just here to cover your ground, carry your stuff. But then we get like his actual adventuring companion, and they made it a guy instead of a girl. I thought we were just gonna fill out Hestia Familia with a bunch of girls, and I'm glad that it didn't go that direction, and that we have another strong male who doesn't seem to be like, like a womanizer at all. Like, we don't see him
No.
trying to pick up any girls or anything. He's just like, I just want to make armor and weapons for you because you came looking for me. And
And
that's I'm
you're
like,
cool. Yeah. Maybe it was me just seeing them bro out in his house, and then I'm just like, unless. Hold
in the
on.
sunset.
Yeah, and this bro, this scene, that's why. The way he looked back at him. That's what made me be like, hold on, wait, what are we doing at the end? I was like, wait a minute. What's happening? I don't know. I dig it. I like them too, whether they are romantic or just friends. I'm cool with that. But I do like Wolf as the crew, being added to the crew. I'm fine with Lily. I really like all the background that we got on her character, and sort of her character arc. I do want her to have another one since
Yeah.
I think this ended her life's character arc. So I would like to see her
Like
get into
that
something.
we have settled your past, can we see her like develop? We want development past that, because that whole crutch, her old familia, that was definitely going to keep her from getting any development. As a personality, as a character, she would just be stuck doing those things. But now we're past it. We no longer have to look at you as a thief. You have said you have no intention of turning across Bell again. So now where do we go from here? We don't want you to just fade into the background and be a bad.
Yes, definitely. We have a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat to suggest BNA anime. What is that? Is that the
DNA.
is BNA the name of the anime, or is it BNA anime,
No.
or is it an acronym for something? Thank you so
Brand
much for
new
the
animal.
brand new animal.
Looks pretty cool.
I'll look at it later. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Thank you for adding BNA brand new animal to the list here. We have a ton of anime here, and I'm going to be adding that one to the list. Brand new animal. Okay. Brand new animal. I got to look it up then. So I'm liking the crew. I'm liking where Hestia's family's going, albeit I'm, as where another anime would have had 5 people come and be introduced now into the familia. I'm fine with how slow it is, especially like if it's going to keep going the way it is. I like the confrontation. I like the different fleshing out of, a lot of familia in these 5
Yeah.
episodes. A lot of different characters were introduced or shown, and we still have that threat behind us. How will this season end for you? And you have it rank up pretty high. Like, how can we make this the best anime season?
Whatever, like wherever the direction we were going with the Minotaur fight, if we can just kind of like it's hard to say, because I feel like that Minotaur was like that's the end of the first arc in a way. Like
Sure.
because we start off, he can't fight a Minotaur. Now we're at, he just took on a Minotaur solo, like, just so
So is
like
it going
I
to
feel
ramp
like
up?
I want to see an escalation of like things in the dungeon, some sort of a like an actual danger be presented, because right now it's like they go find the danger, but how can we make it so that way, like, like we need to put a clock on it, like an unofficial timer, like there needs to be some sort of we need to heighten the stakes is all I'm trying to say.
Freya.
We need the stakes. Freya's there, but like we saw Freya doing the whole thing with her guy that made the Minotaur stronger, and then like when he killed the Minotaur, Freya was like, she was really happy about the fact that Belle killed the Minotaur, and
Yeah.
that was like, so if you want Belle to become strong, like, is it because you want to control him? Is it because you want to control him? Why do you want to control him? Like, that's where I just don't really understand where her plan is,
Okay.
or if she's just like does she want some like an adventure to ascend into godhood, because she's upset that all the other gods made the decision to descend onto the mortal realm, and she didn't want that? Is like there's some sort of like, did all the
Yeah.
gods just decide like, hey, let's all go be mortals and give up all of our powers, or was it like, did something happen that forced them to?
That made me think of something that, yeah, it could be leading to where Freya's looking for a champion to fight back into heaven with, because she and all the other gods are not able to use their powers. She sees something in Belle that will unleash power that is better, or at
So
least
I mean,
at
yeah,
the level of a god. Then she may be, because I don't think they chose this. I think they were just told to come down here. Like this, the way that it made it seem in the first episode, I think when they were explaining it, it was just like the gods went down to the mortals, and it
that's
was just like,
basically how it's described. Yeah.
is like, okay, why would they do that? And I'm leaning more towards the idea that they were forced to because of something about whether it's going to be a god or some kind of
Loki, maybe Loki, the trickster god, tricked everybody into
ooh,
doing this, and now it's like maybe everybody forgot something, and Freya's the only person that remembers. Like
let him cook.
there are very many directions that this could go to make the escalation of the stakes very intriguing for me. But at its core, I really just want to see Hestia family continue to strengthen their bonds and become like an adventuring group that I look at, and it's like, yeah, they could take on Loki. They could take on Loki Familia.
Definitely.
I just want them to be formidable. I want Bell to be strong. I want him to be the hero that he wants to be. And I'm glad that he decided not to kiss the sleeping girl.
Yes, definitely. So I am hopeful because of where we left off at these last 5 episodes. I'm excited to keep watching. I think I'm
I'd
turning
say.
a new leaf here, unless it keeps giving me more of the will he won't he kiss the sleeping girl.
Like
But
I feel like with how the arc came to a close, and then we get the introduction of Welf Crozo. It's like I feel like we're heading in a great direction to
mhm,
really bring this season into a strong finale.
I'm excited. We're gonna finish off this season. Watch episode 10 through 13, 10, 11, 12, 13. Episode 10 through 13. That's 4 pieces of anime. And we're going to finish out season 1. And if you'd like to help rank this anime, we're going to be posting the link to rate the anime because your rankings do count. Your votes do count. Oh, God. They will be posted. The link will be posted in the Discord. I think it's in the description, or you can find it on my page somewhere. Join the Discord to vote to where you think this anime should be. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in the dungeon or DanMachi? But until next week, before we leave, Matt, where can they find you on the internet? And I'm just realizing now I don't have the little screen.
Okay.
So
You can find me on my YouTube at Matt Galley. You can find me on my socials at
dang, bro, we didn't know that
it's
the
Matt Galley. It's Matt underscore Galley. Just follow me on the things.
the
Thank
link
you.
the link to Matt and my YouTube channel is in the description of this YouTube video. So go click.
It's some variation of this right here. You
Yeah,
see,
it's something
right?
Matt Galley something.
However, Jules, when we're not here talking about picking up girls in a dungeon, where can the people find you?
Find me on social media at JULES the human on all social media. I'm mainly been on Instagram. I'm gonna try and get this podcast to stream on my TikTok at some point. Didn't work this week. We have a new streaming setup, so some things have changed on the back end of the podcast. But you can always watch this anime on my YouTube channel at Jules the Human, JULES the human. You can watch the podcast on at Anime Hour Pod on YouTube as well. That's where you upload the VODs and post shorts over there on that channel. So if you want to go subscribe to just that stuff, it'll be there. Also, you can watch this podcast on Spotify. Just look up the Jules and Matt Anime Hour on Spotify. All the past podcasts we've done have been on there. We've seen
All 100 of them.
all 100 and now 101. Saw that we had some 5 stars and stuff. So thanks for rating us on Spotify. That's pretty cool. But yeah, next Wednesday, go ahead and watch the episode 10 through 13 of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon. We'll add brand new animal to possibly be picked out for next week. These are the anime we ranked somewhere here. DanMachi is gonna be. Where is it gonna be? You can vote, you can help. And I think Claire earlier said your faith is far stronger than mine. I have faith. I have faith in this anime. I hope so. But all these anime will be picked out. One of these will be picked out next week. And yeah, we animate that hour and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.